listeners out there. I'm your host, Mamadou Gay, and I would like to welcome you to your favorite radio show, Innov. That's the name of our show for all you first-time listeners out there. And this is podcast number 35. Today on the show, we will be talking about an innovation that's have been very successful for the past few years, and it's that mobile application Uber. Some of you listeners have probably heard or used the app before. So to help us understand disruptive innovation, in particular with the case of Uber, we have invited a group of very bright students doing a course on changing innovation and creativity at the University of Aberdeen. The view will be represented by Fortunati Gogo and Bobby Alici. How are you guys doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Good to be here.
Great. So you guys are group 4, is that correct?
Yes,
exactly. All right. Very fortunate to have you guys come here on the show. Okay, so first of all, to all you listeners out there that have been under a rock lately, let me talk to you about Uber. So Uber is a transportation network company that basically provides car services with the mobile app, also called Uber, so available for all smartphones. So the app connects customers to Uber drivers in the area, and with the touch of a button, the customer can request a ride at his current location. So how cool is that? Pretty cool. And it's also worth mentioning that Uber is cheaper than your average taxi, probably the reason why it's working so well. And so the application was created in 2009 and now present in 55 countries and 200 cities. So it expanded very, very fastly. It's now worth more than $40 billion and estimated to generate $10 billion in revenue by the end of 2015. That's pretty impressive. Now, to talk about disruptive innovation, I would like to ask you, Fortune, what are your views on disruptive innovation theory?
Oh, thank you very much. Now, disruptive innovation is a theory that was made popular by Christensen in 1997. He argued that this is a tool or technique used to enlarge or grow new markets by presenting a unique and different value proposition, that may disrupt the incumbent market. Now, Christensen said that disruptive innovations usually happens in the process, and it starts out with a value proposition of cheap, convenient, low quality, inferior, products, which when compared to that of the mainstream market. He gave several examples, like the disruptive innovation we had in the steel industry, and disruptive innovation in the mobile industry, where Toyota, came and disrupted the mainstream markets like Mercedes and Ford. Now, one of the important uses of TI, disruptive innovation theory, is making ex-ante predictions. Now, Christensen said that the theory could be used to predict whether a new business, product, or service would be disruptive in the future. Now, he said this is a valuable tool that can assist established industries to critique their business model to help improve performance and stay ahead of the trends and address the threat of AI. Now, the next question is, so how they were actually able to disrupt the market? How were they able to disrupt the market? Now, Uber did something very different. Now, traditionally, if you wanted to get a cab, you had to wait in line and you had to, queue or call, and it was very difficult. So, the founder of Uber tried to get a cab in Paris, and it took him a long while, and he thought, what if I developed an app that can connect, the driver and the passenger? And he came up with the Uber app, which is very easy, very simple.
Yeah, pretty simple.
You just, log on to your phone and request a driver, and in less than 8 minutes, you get a driver. It has never been done before.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
The ease at which you do it. And for Uber to penetrate the market, they started with, the disruptive innovation, like Christensen said. They started with a niche, it provides a niche customer segment. So they started with San Francisco, the tech company, tech state. They gave out free rides to everybody, and because of the ease and convenience of the cab process, all the people that took Uber started talking about it. Word of mouth, it spread. It was like they evangelized about it, and before you know it, Uber became very successful in different parts of San Francisco, and from there they spread to other parts of the world. Now, what is truly innovative about it is that Uber doesn't own any cars. Okay. They don't employ the drivers, and the customers they basically leverage on the already existing technology,
Okay.
which is the smartphone,
True.
the applications, and the driver and their car. So basically, Uber just gets the drivers to register them, and if there's a client that wants a car, they just look for the nearest driver that's close to that client, and the car comes, and they have this what we call this dynamic pricing, which
Okay.
very convenient. When you have times of where you have snow or holidays where you have very high volume, high
Okay.
demand for taxis, and you get them. Yeah, dynamic pricing help works. It's a bit pricey.
And I also heard that the fact that it's cashless and convenient.
Yeah, it's cashless. The tips, everything is already paid for. So what happens is when the driver comes, the driver greets the client by name.
True.
And he walks into his cab and takes him to where he's going, and he gets up. He doesn't need to pay money. He doesn't need to exchange money. He doesn't even try and tip the driver. So it makes it very, very easy, straightforward, seamless process. And what does Uber do for connecting these two people? They just take a slice, a percentage of the fare, and that's it.
And I also heard that through the apps there is some couple of innovation that they have where you can split the fare with, let's say, a friend.
Yeah.
And you can even get some customer feedback, give some customer feedback to from your ride.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you see, their drivers have this what you call this star rating. So if you enjoy the ride, you rate the driver. So drivers with driver knows that they're being rated, so they have to be on their best behavior and apply best practices for the
So it basically offers some great opportunities for both drivers and customers.
Right now, they apparently causing the havoc in the taxi industry right now, the traditional taxi industry. I mean, we even have governments involved in trying to ban them from certain cities and states.
So to our second guest here, Bob. Bobby, can you tell us about that market entry for Uber?
Yeah. Once again, I'll say thank you for having me here. The amazing thing about Uber is that it's introduced something that's totally different in the transport industry, especially with cabs and all that. Firstly, it's with every other new business and every other innovation, you have to develop a way which you use in getting the market. And how did Uber do this? Firstly, they provided the free ride for the customers. Now, as a new Uber customer, for the first time, you'll be given free rides.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll be given free rides, and you'll be provided with free rides with zero cost. And with this experience, the customers go out and start evangelizing in a way, I'll put it in that way, with others and telling them about this app and about telling them about Uber, and it brought about a word of mouth advertisement for Uber. Yeah.
They also have like some the fact that it's pretty cheap at the beginning and.
Yeah. That's another point. Yeah. In the part of that, Uber talked about Uber provided cheap fares, and this is what it's part of their business model policy right from the beginning. I think their CEO or something talked about that they will provide fares that are totally cheap for the customers.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
For the customers.
Yeah, I think it's the coordinator of Uber's entry into new markets. Swati Prithvi.
Yeah.
It says that they will be even cheaper than the most popular watersay carrier. So that is something I think that attracts customers a lot.
Yeah, and then for the drivers, I think they also provided them with iPhones and some other gadgets that would enable ease of them accessing contacts for the rides and all that.
Oh, okay. So every Uber driver gets an iPhone.
Yeah, that's the amazing part about it. Every
great.
Uber driver gets an iPhone. I think it's usually an iPhone they give them. Yeah, you get a phone for that, which you use will provide as an ease for them supplying, managing the stuff.
So,
yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about the resistance that they were facing at the beginning from existing taxi companies?
Yeah, and Uber basically faced two types of resistance. They faced resistance from the taxi companies, and they also faced resistance from the government. Yeah, for the taxi companies, they faced resistance of trying to get the market share from them because they provided cheaper fares and all that.
Okay.
They tried to get the market share out of the traditional customers. And then for the government, because Uber drivers are not usually licensed, the government loses the fare, the part of the payments which they get for the licensing of the distance. So it now made the government to resist Uber at first. And that's why you see that in some European countries like France and in Germany, the Uber platform is not really functional there because of all this.
Because of the politics.
Yeah, because of the politics. Yeah.
Okay.
Politics, yeah.
Okay, it makes sense. So let's talk about the implications that this whole Uber thing that really brought into a market. I think from what I've heard you guys say, this seems to be like a lot of loss from market share for traditional taxi operators. Yeah. That's what it seems to be the case to me, and their jobs is at stake basically, because Uber is really disrupting the whole market, and the taxi drivers have to be very unsafe when it comes to their jobs, and well, it also helps create some part-time and low-pay jobs for let's say the Uber drivers. That gives them an opportunity, because Uber would never been able to grow as fast as they've grown if it wasn't for the model of the drivers, and allowing them to actually into the
basically Uber operates what we call a multi-sided platform business model. Okay. It connects the drivers and their customers. Now basically all you need to be an Uber driver is have a car and your license and your license and all that, and you just register with them. So if there's a customer, they give you an iPhone, they send you a message to go and pick up a job at this place, and you're making your money. Yeah, that's very easy, very simple. Putting a lot of people to work that would traditionally have been sitting down. And this innovation is also helping the clients, because they don't have to wait for too long.
Sure.
They can just click a button and they have their cab already waiting for them.
That's great. So I was actually on my way to the show here, and I was reading an article that was saying that the future for Uber is basically trying to penetrate into other markets. So let's say I heard they're running this thing that's called Uber Fresh. They're actually testing it in Santa Monica, in Los Angeles, where let's say a restaurant that doesn't have a delivery option, can actually use the service Uber Fresh to deliver their foods to customers. And I think that's the future for Uber, to really try to penetrate other markets, and the fact that they actually separate their class of what they offer. There's the Uber Lux, which is a limousine that will come pick you up, and Uber X, which is cheaper cars and cheaper fares. And the fact that they really separate the markets and try to penetrate other markets is really the future for them.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's great. I mean, it's been a very, very good case study. I would like to thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And I would like to remind our listeners to don't forget to download our podcast on iTunes, and see you guys on the next podcast. Thank you.